Before we start the video, if any of you want to leave any circuit requests or maybe just show some pictures of rooms you're working on, join the Zombie 878 City Club and there's a chat where I will chat to people. People will show maps they're working on and I show things I'm working on and we can talk about circuits here if you're having trouble. Now let's get into the video. In this video, I will be showing how to make a car drive on the wall, and you can make all kinds of racetracks and different modes this way and stuff. So let's go ahead and get started. So first we are going to start by obviously getting a Rec Rally car, because if we don't, then this would not work. So you can go here, place your Rec Rally car wherever. I'm going to place it right here and I'm going to configure it and put a respawn timer on it. So every time, actually I won't put the respawn timer on it. We won't be doing much of anything. Now, before I get to anything, turn on can drive on. Oh, I think I moved the map. Let me freeze the ground and freeze the ramp. So before we get started, configure the car and hit drive on walls and make sure that's enabled. And you can make sure that you have your respawn thing on in case you just want to test it out and you wanted to respawn afterwards. I usually put it on respawn, turn it on 30 seconds. Now that we've done that, I'm going to say when you make a ramp, obviously it depends on the weight of the car. So the heavier the car, the less it's going to go up the ramp. So if you want the car to go up a ramp, you probably want to make it lighter. What I had it was at 500. At 1000, it's not going to make it all the way up the ramp. It's just going to make it up here, then go back down. So I need to make it 2 times as lighter so it actually gets up there. Now that we're done with the Rec Rally car, go ahead and get a trigger volume. And we are going to put the trigger volume on the bottom of this car. It doesn't matter where, as long as it's the bottom of the car. I usually like to spread my trigger zone out. You want to make sure that it hits the ground. And then you just want to spread it out to the back wheels. And now that we got our trigger volume, let's go ahead and move the circuit board in here to out here so we can actually see it. Next, we're going to get a clamp and a vector component. So this vector component is going to be what keeps us connected to the ground. So you're going to rotate this down to the ground. Connect the trigger zone and the vector component to the gold top piece of the clamp and connect the Rec Rally buggy to the bottom. If you connect the Rec Rally buggy to the top, you cannot get in it or drive it. So now that we have this connected to the clamp, we are going to get our circuits. Let's get a trigger volume, get object count. And this basically gets the object count of what's in the trigger zone. And right now it says 2 because it's counting the car as the object. As you see, it's kind of clipping through the car a bit. But what we want is we want the trigger zone to, I mean, you can keep it maker pin object. That will work just fine. But what I like to do is I like to let the trigger zone detect the ramp itself. So I'll give this the tag of ramp. So I'll configure ramp and give it the tag ramp. And then I'll go into trigger zone and I'll say only detect objects with ramp in their tag. And now this should say 0. And then when it detects it, it will start to connect to the wall. Next, we are going to get a greater or equal to chip. This greater or equal to chip will activate whenever we are in one or two or one or more ramps. And then we need an if chip to finish off this. I don't know why my thing keeps trying to go to the ground. And then we are going to connect this, and what we're going to connect to the top of this if chip is going to be a update 30 hertz a second. So this way it is constantly checking if you are connected to a ramp or not. So right now, since we are not detecting, the trigger zone isn't detecting a ramp, this is doing absolutely nothing, but once it does, it should make the vector component, car, go down to the ground and connect to the ramp. After we add the velocity add chip, which is going to be our last chip, now go ahead, connect the direction to the vector over here. We don't need to mess with this number. Then connect the target to the Wreck Rally car. And now when this detects a ramp, it's going to add velocity to this, and it's going to make our car connect to the ground. And it's going to do it constantly because of the update 30 hertz a second chip. Now, we are going to change these numbers because if the numbers are too high, then it's not going to work. It's going to connect to the ground too much and it won't be able to move. It will add too much weight to it. So the numbers I usually use is 2 and 1. This seems to work the best. You could make this go up to 3, but I recommend keeping the speed 1. It's not really going to do much, but don't make the speed or anything too high, otherwise it's going to mess up. And now we have our car that drives on the wall, so let's go ahead and test it out real quick. And it's connecting to the wall, and as you can see, I am completely upside down and the car is not falling down because it's constantly connecting me to the wall that I'm on. And there you go, a nice little short video to show you how to make a car drive on the wall. If you enjoyed the video, like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.